South Korean intel whispers of Moscow fueling Kim Jong-un's nuclear navy dream, while the Kremlin reaps North Korean weapons for its Ukraine war. Beijing salutes as Putin hails a special dimension of alliance. From Seoul's calls for dialogue to Washington's quiet alarm, a new axis stirs beneath the Pacific waves. Is a nuclear-powered North Korea about to surface? Intelligence obtained by South Korea reveals that its neighbour, North Korea, might have received a nuclear reactor from Russia for the development of its submarine fleet. The South China Morning Post reported that Pyongyang had received a nuclear reactor from Russia for the development of their submarine fleet. Experts suggest that North Korea's push for advanced submarine technology may have led Moscow to comply. Hong Min, a senior researcher at the Korea Institute for National Unification, told SCMP,
"It's highly possible that North Korea pressed Russia for help with nuclear propulsion."
For now, South Korea is investigating reports that Russia may have supplied North Korea with nuclear submarine reactor modules, marking a potential breakthrough in Pyongyang's pursuit of a nuclear-powered navy. According to the report, Seoul has shared the intelligence, which is undergoing verification of its credibility with allies, including Washington. As per the United 24 report, such a transfer is plausible given the growing military ties between Moscow and Pyongyang, especially amid Russia's ongoing war in Ukraine. Meanwhile, on September 17th, a Korean newspaper JoongAng Daily citing multiple South Korean government officials reported,
Russia is believed to have supplied 2 to 3 nuclear submarine modules to North Korea in the first half of the year, including a reactor. Other modules included a turbine and cooling system, which are also core components of a submarine's nuclear propulsion unit. These modules were not newly manufactured, but taken from decommissioned Russian nuclear-powered submarines.
One other the South Korean officials told the newspaper that
Russia was initially reluctant to provide nuclear-powered submarine technology and advanced fighter jets to North Korea, which it has been requesting since last year but eventually agreed to do so.
The South Korean Defense Intelligence Agency said it was closely monitoring the developments. In March, North Korean state media released images of Kim Jong-un visiting what was described as a nuclear-powered guided missile submarine construction site, underscoring Pyongyang's ongoing military ambitions. Concurrently, a report by the German think tank Friedrich Naumann Foundation, published on September 18th, claimed that Russia and North Korea have struck a lopsided deal, with Moscow gaining far greater support for its war in Ukraine than Pyongyang receives in return.
North Korea has delivered up to $9.8 billion worth of weapons, as well as fighters, to Russia since 2023. Pyongyang's gains may amount to as little as an estimated $457 million to $1.19 billion. No substantial inflows of hard currency into North Korea can be observed. Financial transactions appear largely locked within the Russian banking system.
The study examines the intensifying military cooperation between Russia and North Korea. The two countries signed a landmark mutual defense pact last year, increasing concern in the West. Although the report notes the remarkable momentum of relations, it also says they have taken on a distinctly asymmetric character. Russia and North Korea formed a strategic partnership last year, committing both sides to mutual military aid. Pyongyang has provided troops and munitions to support the Kremlin's war in Ukraine in exchange for Moscow's military equipment. In addition to its nuclear and missile developments, North Korea has been bolstering its naval force by building a nuclear-powered guided missile submarine and 2 5,000-ton destroyers to counter the US and South Korea, which possess superior navies. Relations between Kim and Russian President Vladimir Putin have surged significantly since they signed the military alliance in 2024. Putin, in his meeting with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un in Beijing on September 3rd, said,
Relations between our countries have recently acquired a special dimension of trust, friendship, and alliance. I would like to emphasize that your soldiers fought valiantly and heroically. We will never forget the sacrifices made by your armed forces and the families of your military personnel.
It remains to be seen when North Korea will launch and commission its first nuclear-powered submarine, which may prompt South Korea to develop a similar submarine in response. The South Korean government will continue to pursue engagement with North Korea, even if it does not respond, President Lee Jae-myung said on September 18th, stating that establishing peace is the fastest path to safeguarding national prosperity. Speaking at the Global Korea Forum in Seoul, Lee said,
"The unresolved division of the peninsula still casts a shadow over South Korea's legacy of economic growth and democratization. The more tangled the thread, the more patience and steady progress are needed."
Lee further added,
"Rebuilding trust and restoring dialogue are the first step to ease military tensions and bring about peaceful coexistence between the two Koreas."
The president's remarks largely reiterated Seoul's North Korea policy, formalized in 123 key policy tasks announced earlier this week, which prioritized denuclearisation and coexistence while avoiding a fixed timeline for unification. Unification. Minister Chung Dong-young also addressed the forum, held under the theme,
"Toward peaceful coexistence on the Korean Peninsula and Northeast Asia."
Chung strongly criticized former President Yoon Suk-yeol for labeling the North as the main enemy, arguing that the approach had worsened inter-Korean relations.
The Yoon administration's hostile DPRK policy and regime change stance provoked North Korea's antagonistic policies toward the South, leading Pyongyang to embrace a two-state theory that views Seoul as a hostile foreign country. The two Koreas cannot continue to live in tension, confrontation, and hostility as they do now. A hostile two-state relationship will be a major obstacle not only to peace and stability on the Korean Peninsula, but also in the broader Northeast Asian region.
Chung also remarked on Kim Jong-un's joint appearance with Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin during China's Victory Day celebrations this month, stating that North Korea's rising strategic status is undeniable.
"We must recognize that time is not on our side. The sooner dialogue resumes, the better."